KURINJI Senior Secondary School, CBSE, Namakkal.
Successful result producing school in state every year.
Administered by the Board of Directors with over 35 years of experience in the teaching field.
Special attention on art, craft, music, dance, silambam, yoga, skating and karate.
Focus on Hindi Sabha and Spell Bee Olympiad exams.
Smart class for effective and innovative learning and well-furnished library.
Solitary importance on sports and games in state and national level.
WhatsApp facilities to know activities of students and school inside the campus.
NEET, JEE, IIT coaching experts from Rajasthan and Andhra Pradesh along with our effective teachers.
Admission registration for classes LKG to +2.
KURINJI Educational Institution, Kavetipatti, Namakkal. Admission in progress. CBSE, KG to 12, contact 9025895176. Metric 6 to 12, contact 9344567484. For online admission, log on to www.kurinjischoolnkl.com.
Students, so in this video we are discussing last and final one in mechanisms of transport. As per our knowledge point of view in previous videos, so we have seen information regarding diffusion and we have seen regarding facilitated diffusion. Now in this video we will discuss active transport. Appuram ama kile parunga inge three different transport processes. Three different transport processes means what are those? Diffusion, and second one is facilitated diffusion, and third one is active transport. So these three processes, so comparison. So from here to here we will see the difference, we will see information regarding active transport. Once the active transport is completed, overall look, so overall concentration of diffusion, facilitated diffusion and active transport we will start to discuss. After completion of these three transport mechanisms, we will start a new concept, that is plant and water relations. So okay, so in this video what is information we will learn means, finally we will learn the information of plant and water relations, and middle we will see the comparisons of these three transports, and initially of this video we will have the information regarding active transport. Now let us have a look on this information one by one. Now active transport uses energy to transport and pump the molecule against the concentration gradient. So by seeing the first information, so everything, so means until now by taking off 3 videos, what is the information we have finalized, everything must be recollected. My dear students, in the process of diffusion and in the process of facilitated diffusion, we have seen the transport of molecules from the higher concentration to lower concentration we see. But in this active transport, what is the information we are observing? Active transport uses the energy to transport the and pump the molecules against the concentration gradient. Against the concentration gradient, the movement of ions which takes place or which occurs or which transport from the lower concentration to higher concentration. One example we learn now, suppose if we would like to send the water from the ground to towards our weed tank, so at the time what we will do, just we will switch on the motor. At the time means we are using the energy, means in the form of current, for sending of water molecules into our tank. Once the tank is filled, we will switch off the motor. Now if you would like to do the bath or if you would like to use for our activities, water, so at the time now again we no need to switch on the motor. Just if you switch, if you open the tap, Tanni will come from the tank. Means in these two situations, in first activity we are using the power as energy. But for our activities, for fulfilling our activities, second time we will open the tap, at the time we are not switching the tap. Means at the time, so in these two cases, now I am asking which one is active and which one is passive. Can you guess? So first one, when we are sending or when we are using the power or when we are using the motor, that particular process we can term it as active. And suppose if you are getting water from the tap through our tap, no, that particular process we can be taken as passive or facilitate. Example point of view I am telling. So that's why here what is the point? So when the water molecules or when the molecules are passing or the transporting or pumping against the concentration gradient, so by using of energy in the form of ATP, so such particular process we will be considering as active transport. Which one can you say one more time? Active transport. Active transport is carried out by specific membrane proteins as we have seen before. So here nalla save pannikonga, even in a facilitated transport as well as in active transport also we are observing the involvement of specific membrane proteins. Now can you guess, can you give the differences between the facilitated transport and active transport? In a facilitated transport we didn't use the what it is energy form. There is no need of or the involvement of energy in the form of ATP, and in a facilitated transport the ions are moving or the molecules are transporting from higher to lower. But in active, no, energy involvement is there and the molecules are which are moving from the low concentration to high concentration. That's why when the molecules are moving from the low concentration to high concentration, definitely there is a need of energy in the form of ATP. Now let us move forward to discuss more information. Now hence different proteins in the membrane system play a major role in the both active as well as passive transport. Means there are different proteins are there. Sir, one protein matama irka sir na, there no there are different proteins. Means so very exclusively we will learn very soon. So there are different proteins are there in the membrane system and plays an important role in both processes, means active and passive transport. Based on this nalla save pannikonga, ange we are observing two different types of transport. So one is active and one more is passive. So in active processes and in passive processes, while these kind of processes going to be are taken in place, there different proteins involvement is there. Point understood? No. So means there active processes or active process or active transport and passive transport we are studying. There we have to understand, sir, one protein type nalli or in the same protein or in one and only the protein both kind of mechanisms at a time taking place, sir, means no. Once you see different proteins in the membrane system play a major role in both active as well as passive transport. Next one, pumps or proteins. So here we see now, so there are different types of proteins are there. So these proteins definitely involves in the what? Transport of molecules from one place to another place. We see now pumps or proteins that use energy to carry the substances across the membrane. So here the pump, these proteins are nothing but pumps, so that use the energy to carry the substances across the membrane. So thereby by using this energy, proteins which are present in the membrane transport the substances from one place to another place or across the membrane. Next one, these pumps can transport the substances from low concentration to high concentration. So such particular phenomenon we will be considering as uphill transport. My dear students, suppose if you are there in presence of me or in front of me, definitely I'll tell you to read this statement 2 or 3 times to get this statement. Once you say uphill transport means once you say that is movement or the transport of substances from low concentration to high concentration. So such particular means, suppose if the ions are moving from the low concentration to high concentration, so such particular transport of the substances we will be calling as uphill transport. Don't forget even suppose whether you will write NEET examinations or not, so these kind of statements kandipa you have to remember. Okay. அப்புறம் the transport rates reaches a maximum when all the protein transporters are being used. So this statement even we have seen in passive or facilitated transport also. Means when the transport when the transport rate is when the transport rate reaches a maximum, ஆமாம் இப்போது ஒரு மெம்பரேன் இருக்கமா அங்கே 10 membrane proteins over there. Again, 2 proteins only are involving the transport of molecules or the ions from one place to another place. No, that we will not consider as saturation. நம்ம பாயிண்ட் புரியுதா? எக்ஸாம்பிள் இப்போது ஒன்று மெம்பரேன் இருக்குமா அங்கே மெம்பரேன் மேலே 10 proteins are there number point of view. இப்போது out of 10 number or membrane proteins, just 2 only are involved in the transport of substances from one place to another place. At the time we cannot say the process of transport is in maximum. We cannot say. So that the process of transport is reaches maximum, we cannot say. Suppose 10 out of 10 10 proteins are there on the membrane. If 10 out of 10 involves in the transport, so at the time we can say the transport rate reaches maximum. சின்ன எக்ஸாம்பிள் ஒன்லி கொஞ்சம் நல்லா அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்டிங் பண்ணிக்கோங்க. அப்புறம் அவுட் ஆஃப் 10 சப்போஸ் 5 மட்டும் இன்வால்வ் இன் டிரான்ஸ்போர்ட் மீன்ஸ் அட் த டைம் ஆல்சோ வி குட் நாட் சே ஆர் வி ஷுட் நாட் சே த மேக்ஸிமம் ஆர் த வாட் இட் இஸ் த டிரான்ஸ்போர்ட் ரேட் ரீச்சஸ் மேக்ஸிமம். மீன்ஸ் when we can say maximum or the saturation, suppose how many number of or all proteins which are present on the membrane when they are all involved in the transport of molecules, no, at the time we can say transport rate reaches maximum. So try to understand clearly. Next one, when the transport proteins are being used are saturated. So up to here we have completed the explanation. Like enzymes, the carrier protein is very specific in what it carries across the membrane. Means here even enzymes are like carrier proteins, like enzymes carrier proteins also very specific. Means here till now we didn't discuss this point. What is the point now we are discussing? Suppose there are different types of molecules are there, no? Now one particular protein is there, means that particular protein is also showing specificity. Suppose myself is there, means I will transport this molecule only all the time. Likewise there are different types of proteins are there on the membrane, and suppose if one protein is there, means that particular protein always that involves in the transport of one kind of molecule only. Sir, suppose same what is a protein or what is a molecule that to be transported daily. Suppose that material or that particular substrate is not there, that particular protein will not do any function, sir, means no. What I said the information that I will explain by one more time. இப்போ membrane protein இருக்குமா அங்கே மேலே there are different proteins are there. இப்போ carrier proteins are there, no? These carrier proteins work also specific suppose all the time transport only one kind of substances or only one kind of molecules or only one kind of ions. In absence of them, so these particular enzyme or these particular proteins will not transport the other element or other substance. Suppose in the absence of one particular element, that particular protein will not do any function. Suppose my substance is not there, no, I will involve in the transport of other kind of substance. Likewise it won't be. So that's why here what is the point here we have discussed, like enzymes, the carrier protein is also or is very specific in what it carries across the membrane. Next one, these proteins are sensitive to inhibitors. This is well known point to be discussed. As we have said before, proteins, enzymes definitely are sensitive to the inhibitors. Why? Because proteins are formed from the amino acids and enzymes are formed from the proteins. Now when these proteins are sensitive, even enzymes also will be sensitive to the inhibitors. That's why both statements in previous videos we have seen enzymes in information no ema ange we have seen this particular point. Enzymes are very sensitive to the inhibitors we see. Likewise even proteins also are sensitive to the inhibitors. So thereby these inhibitors, what it will do, how they will influence the proteins or enzymes means these inhibitors that reacts with the protein side chains. When inhibitors will go and reacts with the protein side chains, automatically what will happen? No, proteins or enzymes activity will be inhibited or arrested. Next one, now let us see the comparison of different transport processes. Now property and property, simple diffusion, facilitated diffusion, active transport. Now these 5 statements in order, try to remember. Okay, so for a small clue also I will give you to remember. First letters let us take for our remembrance. Okay ma, R, H, T, U, R. These are 5 statements. So suppose if you remember in order, so this will be very easy. Okay, once you say R, H, T, U, R. One more time, R, H, T, U, R. Okay, so now let us start to discuss one by one property. Requires a special membrane proteins. Next one, highly selective. Third statement, transport saturates. Fourth one, uphill transport. And fifth one, requires ATP energy. Okay, so now here requires ATP energy. Now here there are 5 different statements are there. So these 5 different statements are very very important for our knowledge point of view, knowledge concern. Now here simple diffusion, first of all simple diffusion known it means not only in living organisms, in all like even liquids, gases, in all kind of activities, no. So this particular process takes place now. That's why diffusion process requires no special membrane proteins. That's why no, it is not highly selective. No, transport saturation. No, uphill transport. No, uphill transport means from low to high. No, but in a diffusion high to low. No, that's why no. Next one, there is no need of energy in the form of ATP. That's why no. Next one, facilitated transport. C requires special membrane proteins. Membrane protein required no. Yes. Next one, highly selective. Yes. Transport saturates. Yes. And uphill transport no. Why? Because in a facilitated transport also, like diffusion, ions transportation takes place from high to low. That's why these two are also no. Next one, in these two there is no use of energy. Next one, active transport. LMA yes da. Okay, now how active transport requires special membrane proteins? Yes. Highly selective? Yes. Transport saturation? Yes. And uphill movement. This uphill movement statement is a no. That one only suitable to the active transport. That's why it is yes. Next one, requires energy in the form of ATP also only is there in active transport. That's why here also yes. Though thereby active transport ki LMA yes. Facilitated diffusion ki first 3 are yes, last 2 are no, and simple diffusion ki LMA no. So these 5 statements. So suppose if you remember very clearly, suppose if I ask any questions in a NEET examinations, so you will give answers very clearly. Next one, try to remember the plant and water relations. Plant and water relations point of view, what are the main important points to be discussed under this side heading is, now water is essential for all physiological activities. That's we know very well. Daily when we will wake up, no, we will start our activities by taking off water. So thereby there is no any like exceptions, isn't it? So that's why here what is the point? Water is essential for all physiological activities, means on the globe. So definitely suppose if you are considering a organism as living, means definitely it requires water, but a few exceptions are there, few we no need to consider. That's why let us concentrate most of the organisms. Now that's why water is essential for what? All physiological activities of the plant and plays a very important role in the living organisms. Not only plant, definitely it particularly plays important role in all kind of living organisms. Now water, it provides the medium in which most substances are dissolved. Correct only, no? Suppose if groundwater padambodu, so there not groundwater, filter water or any kind of water, whatever it is. So there different types of minerals and nutrients will be there. That's why we are having water, no? Suppose there nothing is availability is there, we will add the any kind of nutrients or some kind of minerals later we will have. Means without adding anything, means of course what is the thing, no, in filtered water, like water filter plants are there, no, there we will add some kind of nutrients, that is of course. So means most of the cases, means so suppose if you go to the villages, no, directly they will have a bore water. Means they bore water means there at the time they will not add any kind of nutrients, means so they will believe or we will believe water already enriched with different types of nutrients and minerals. That's why even though people without adding anything we will have and we will be very healthy. So that is another case. But here what is the point we are discussing? So water provides a medium in which most substances are dissolved, and the protoplasm of the cells is nothing but water in which different molecules are dissolved. Ipo protoplasm also, protoplasm, cytoplasm is there, no, adida. So now liquid will be there, no, within the cell, and it is made up of water. It's nothing but water. It is water only. Suppose as per knowledge point of view, cytoplasm 85 to 86% of water is there. So that's why we are considering protoplasm also, we are considering as water with what? In which different molecules are dissolved and several particles are suspended. Easy da. Appuram idi konjam easy and important. Pathama adu enna watermelon eduthumbodhu ange watermelon alli so has over 92% of water. Summer we will have no watermelon. For as a biology scientist students, no, we must remember this one. Suppose if anyone ask or eating watermelon, no, we have to say to them, "Hey, watermelon evlo percentage of thanni irukku theriyuma, 92% of water is there." Likewise, if you tell to them, "Oh, you know very well about this subject," likewise they will see you in up. Okay, so means like that. So suppose if you remember this entire information, it will be helpful to your knowledge concern. Okay, let us start to discuss. A watermelon has over 92% of water, and most herbaceous, up to here one statement is completed. Upon next statement, most herbaceous plants have only about 10 to 15% of its fresh weight as dry matter. If suppose mummy preparing like palak curry and all, suppose at the time, no, first of all she will put all curry leaves after cleaning she will take into the one vessel, curry vessel, and she will, when she is trying to boil, at the time, so we will observe the presence of water without addition of water in the bowl. Point, did you understand this statement? So thereby here, what is the point we can understand? Suppose if you take even herbaceous plants also, just dry matter 10 to 15% only we will find in a fresh weight. Means sir, remaining like 85 to 90% of percentage of content yaar irukku sir ana tannida water only. Dry matter, once in biomolecules lesson I said no, dry matter means fresh material. So when we will keep in the like under sunlight, no, for a few days, so thanni evaporate, remaining content will be there, no. Dried leaves generally we will observe, no. So there, what is the difference? In fresh water, no, thanni availability will be more. In dry matter, no thanni. There is no presence of water. So thereby, what is the difference we can find out means in herbaceous plants, no, plants have only about 10 to 15% of its fresh weight as a dry matter. So thereby, water availability will be there 85 to 90% in herbaceous plants. ஆமாம் இது ஸ்டேட்மெண்ட்டு ஈஸிலி யூ கேனாட் அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட், கொஞ்சம் திங்க் பண்ணிக்கோங்க. அப்புறம் அஃப்கோர்ஸ் த டிஸ்ட்ரிபியூஷன் ஆஃப் வாட்டர் இன் வித்தின் தி பிளான்ட் varies woody parts have relatively very little, means of course the distribution of water, so in all plant parts water percentage will be same only as sir, means no differences will be there. Suppose for example woody parts suppose plant cut பண்ணும்போது in the center ನಲ್ಲಿ brown color structure in anatomy heartwood we see no heartwood sapwood differences also we know ange heartwood gi tanni availability very little amount of water we will observe. And if you see soft parts mostly contain water. Soft parts only we will observe the most content of water or more percentage of water than the woody parts. அப்புறம் a seed, if you take a seed also may appear dry, means it is a being like oh this seed nalla dry aichi, we will see there, but it is still has water ulle definitely 10 to 15% of தண்ணி இருக்கணும் இருக்கு, otherwise so that particular seed will not be in live condition and that cannot be respiring, means here respiration process it cannot be occurred in the seeds. So means here what is my point now, even seeds seems to be very dry, but it has some amount of water for the completion of its respiratory activities and to be alive. Otherwise suppose if the seed not contains requiring amount of water, no, it will not be alive. And suppose if the seed not contains suitable or optimum levels of water, no, that particular seed cannot complete its respiratory activities. I hope you understood this. Apro terrestrial plants take a huge amount of water daily, but most of it lost to the air through evaporation from the leaves is known as transpiration. இது எல்லாருக்குமே தெரியும். Transpiration biology students க்கு எல்லாருக்குமே தெரியும். Transpiration is nothing but evaporation of water from the aerial parts of the plant. Aerial parts means here we can see leaves only, no. That's why suppose if from the leaf or through the leaf, suppose evaporation of water we are observing means, so such particular process only our scientists term the word as transpiration. அது போதும். Next one, a mature corn plant, maize corn ana theriyum, we will have sweet corn and a normal corn, adida. So a mature plant corn, if you observe, that absorbs the water equals to its own weight in a day. Suppose if the corn plant weight 2 kg means, so that the gains or that absorbs the water 2 liters of water within a day. இதே நல்லா remember பண்ணிக்கோங்க. அப்புறம் another example, if you take mustard plant, kadago melago somewhat plant is mustard, so that one absorbs the water equals to its own weight. So absorbs or mustard plant absorbs the water equals to its own weight in about 5 hours. Suppose if the mustard plant weight again 3 kg irukana, within 5 hours it absorbs the equals to its weight. So these two statements nalla save பண்ணிக்கோங்க. அப்புறம் because of this high demand of water, means here you see there, so water may be that the part of the plant, if you take there kandipa there we will observe the presence of water, isn't it? So means because of this high demand of water, it is not surprising that water is often the limiting factor for the plant growth and productivity in both agricultural and natural environments. Means definitely based on these situations, or when we will observe these situations, what is the point we have to understand? Definitely we will observe the high demand of water. Okay for what sir means, so definitely for the plant growth point of view and for giving of more productivity photosynthesis, by the process of photosynthesis food materials production process takes place, no, adida productivity. So thereby, so when the plant taking the water for all kind of activities, so at the time sometimes water often this particular water is not like up to the mark, means here when the water is useful for all kind of metabolic activities, there is a tiny losses, means here exactly presence of water becoming loss. Means limiting factor, means what is the meaning exactly? When compared to the all kind of requirements, water availability will be very less. Why? Because here water is needed for all activities. When the water is needed for all activities, definitely tani availability will be very less. Suppose when compared to the all factors, if the water availability is less, so here water we will be considering as limiting factor. So this particular word, even in photosynthesis also I will explain very clearly. Just here limiting factor word mattu remember pannikonga. So likewise we can see the involvement of water. Okay, let me conclude. So now in this video, what are the main important points we have discussed, means, or what are the side headings? We have seen plant and water relations, we seen. That side we have seen differences or comparison differences among the diffusion, facilitated diffusion and active transport we seen. Initially we have seen active transport. Up to here we have successfully completed mechanisms of transport. Still we have to continue the plant and water relations. In the next video I will come with, so what are the main important points are there related to the water and plants relations. Everything we will discuss in next video. Thank you and be safe at home. So prepare this particular information very well and learn the concept. Generally I will say this one only, so don't waste your time. By being at your home also you can learn the knowledge, you can be in good position in your subject. Thank you.